How is it possible for me to get the stain and varnish off of this old dresser cabinet thingy using a super powerful laser without burning the wood? Today I'm going to show you how. So this laser that I'm using here to get this stain off is running at 60 nanosecond pulse width and 60 kilohertz frequency. What does that mean? Well, the frequency is how many times a second the laser is sort of pulsing or repeating. And 60 kilohertz means that's pulsing 60,000 times a second. Now, that's crazy enough, right? That means that every pulse is only 16.67 microseconds, which is, a microsecond is a millionth of a second. That's crazy enough, but it gets even worse or even better, right? Because each of those pulse widths within that 16.67 microsecond pulse, it's only 60 nanoseconds, meaning that the laser is only on for 60 nanoseconds of that 16.67 pulse that is happening 60,000 times a second. And a nanosecond is a billionth of a second. That's how small we're talking. So let me just break it down further for you, right? Okay, there is in that little pulse that happens 60,000 times a second, there's 16,670 nanoseconds. And of that 16,670 nanoseconds, only 60 nanoseconds of that time, the laser's actually on. That means that for that pulse, the laser's only on for 0.36% of the time. Not 36% of the time, not 3.6% of the time, but 0.36%. Let me try to put that another way. Let's say you turned on a light and then waited 60 seconds, a minute, and turned it back off. You'd have to wait over 4.5 hours before you turn that light off and on again to mimic the amount of proportion here with the pulse width and the pulse that happens 60,000 times a second. How cool is that? That is 3.6 million teeny tiny little pulses with comparatively huge gaps in between every single minute. How cool is that? And that's the magic behind this. Bottom line, and there's more to it than that. You have to talk about the focus of the beam and the scan speed and, even how moving it makes a big difference. But all in all, this is how it's able to just get the stain and varnish off without touching the lid at all. It just energizes the stain, doesn't stay long enough to heat up the wood, and therefore you end up with this awesome finish and this wonderful job. Check out how this dresser works at the end. No burning at all, just totally clean. Excellent stuff. Stay tuned for more.